Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and as you saw, or maybe some of you did not, in Punta Gorda, Punta Gorda is inside the county of Charlotte County. There is a police chief called Tom Lewis who had a guy under him named Lee Cole, who some months ago, Lee Cole saw a guy on a bicycle with no light on his bicycle. We're talking a light on his bicycle. Let his dog maul the guy for 2 minutes, literally ate muscle and skin, permanently disabled on that side of his life for the rest of his life. Police Chief Tom Lewis then researched Lee Cole's background and stuff that he did before at other places, and then we've also got information too. Other officers at Punta Gorda, told him, hey man, this guy's a bad guy. It's just endless stuff. Police Chief Tom Lewis knew this guy was bad. People, that work with him told him. And he still backed him. He hired a expensive dog expert, which is an ex-cop. That's like asking a mafia to investigate itself, to justify the dog maul and say the dog maul was fine, which is insane. 2 minutes just mauling the living piss out of this guy's side, man. It was insane. Over, no light on his bicycle. So that's where a lot of this started. Police chief knew that Lee Cole was psycho, didn't fire him, and kept him on because of the thick blue line of corruption. And then Lee Cole, in a wannabe cop class, they had a shoot, don't shoot scenario, and one of the old rich people was there named Mary Knowlton. And they used Lee Cole because they were trying to do propaganda to make Lee Cole look good again after he, just totally did the sick thing with the dog maul. And they had Lee Cole as a bad guy. They used a real gun and didn't bother to check to make sure that the gun had blanks in it. And Lee Cole, from what we've heard, shot 4 shots into this older lady's chest and just freaking killed her, executed her, man. Period. And then Police Chief Tom Lewis still did not fire him, put him on paid leave. So for the dog maul, they had to pay $75,000 for that, which is a travesty, man. If you, a lot of you guys have seen the dog maul thing, that was insane. It should have been way higher than that. And then on the execution of Mary Knowlton, the city had to pay out $2 million. That was the actually what they were insured for. We're trying to find out if the insurance is going to drop them, which they should, because the police chief is incompetent. So anyways, FDLE came in with the state prosecutor. They investigated and they finally charged Lee Cole with manslaughter and then charge a police chief with culpable negligence. I believe that's the word, and what it means is that he could have did something. He could have stopped it. He could have checked the gun. He could have fired him after the dog maul. It's endless. And the reason for this video is because of the bootlicking supporters. This is just sick, man. You actually have people here in Punta Gorda that because of the police chief was finally put on paid vacation. Paid leave. That's paid vacation. It's insane. They didn't fire him. He's still making money while he's on paid vacation, which is that is sick. And you have all these old farts that are supporting him. They said that he's good, he's a nice guy. They don't comprehend what if that was their husband, what if that was their wife. They do not comprehend. What if that was their husband or wife that was on the bicycle that was mauled brutally? As you've seen what I've been doing here with the videos, I just keep on tacking these videos together, and it's getting to be insane. There's so much corruption at these videos. I think the video's up like to hour and a half, hour 45 minutes of just disgusting. Nobody's charged. It took forever, and police chief is a good guy, and just, oh my god. That's why I keep putting all this story together so you can watch it. It's just like, wow. But so this video is on the bootlicking supporters again. That wake up, man. Which one of your family members would you like killed by Lee Cole because of Chief Tom Lewis did not do his job and fire him. Which one? Would you like your daughter, son, to be killed in this corruption, insanity, thick blue line of corruption, whatever you want to call it? So you already got the videos here of these people. They're out front, you know, protesting, saying, keep our chief. Oh my God. Apparently you don't give a shit about your family because you're saying that you would sacrifice one of them to keep Police Chief Tom Lewis because he's a nice guy. Really? Oh my God. I went to talk to him with my lawyer. He freaking hates me and COPWATCH because we've been busting the corruption here. Their department has illegally looked me up so many times, not even funny. He literally threatened me right in front of my lawyer. He literally said, well, we could follow you around and bust you for a bunch of stuff. And I was like, holy crap. Just because I do COPWATCH. He's literally threatened me, we will follow you around and bust you for anything and whatever we can because I do COPWATCH and because I'm exposing their corruption. I was blown away. You know what my answer was to that? And look into it. It's true. I said, fine, I can bust you guys too. You are all sitting here breaking 3 different laws just sitting here. When you look at this, the local, state, and federal, there's so many laws on the books. They're breaking the laws just sitting there. And my lawyer agreed. She said, you are correct. Because it's true. We have so many laws on the books. Just you sitting there watching this video right now are breaking multiple laws because it's completely out of control. So this is talking about the bootlickers. This is just mind-blowing. I did a search for Chief Tom Lewis, and then what came up, this was insane. And they already ripped it down because they know I'm going to make a video about it. Click here to support Chief Tom Lewis, Jenny Joy. Oh my God, a GoFundMe page. You click on it, and guess what? Let's try. Oh, it's already taken down because we're going to make a video. So anyways, he does have a Facebook page, Tom Lewis, so you can go there and say, oh my God, it's time for you to go. Spend some time in jail. Lose your pension because you do not deserve it. People are maimed and dead because of you. This is one of the supporters. She's got a Facebook page. She thinks that having people maimed and killed and doesn't give a crap about her family if they get killed, apparently, because that's what could happen. This is another supporter right here. Apparently, she doesn't give a crap about her family either because she wouldn't care if they were maimed or killed either. There's the Jenny Joy right there. She's the one that actually put this together. Support incompetence. Wow, she apparently doesn't care about her family. Unbelievable, man. And here's another supporter. And if anything police, apparently she supports. This is another one that they tried to. This guy died, and they tried to tie this to the Florida cop killer. He had nothing to do with it. Just and they tied it to him just to make a hero. You know what happened to this guy? He was riding his motorcycle, old fart pulled in front of him, he's dead. Okay, that's why this cop died. Nothing to do with that Florida cop killer. It's just, God, the propaganda is sick. This is, okay, here you go, Jenny Joy, there you go. She thinks it's freaking great to support incompetence and doesn't care about her family. I guess she would not care if her daughter was killed by this incompetent police chief and Lee Cole. Wow, that's pretty sad. Here's another video. This is a CJ Metcalf, another supporter of incompetence. Apparently doesn't care about her family. Maybe she doesn't care about herself. Maybe she would have liked to have been the one in that shoot, don't shoot scenario. And there she is again, writing all over her truck, we support incompetence, tyranny, thick blue line of corruption. Just disgusting. Unbelievable.
What window doesn't have it on? What window doesn't have it on? To show people that residents of this city have support of the chief, those that are informed and have attended coffee with the chiefs, where he has been very honest, up forward, has kept us up to date on this situation. He has hid nothing, and explained to us all of the processes. Those are the people that are informed. Those that have relied on other sources such as gossip to inform them, they have no idea as to what's involved in this. This is a case where the snowball rolled uphill, and though the chief is responsible for his staff, I don't think someone of his intelligence, experience, knowledge, and everything else should be asked to step down.
Now the other side of that is that he was in the room, he was overlooking the shoot don't shoot scenario that was played out, in which Mary Knowlton was shot and killed, in which the negligence charges were filed by the state attorney's office. What is your thoughts in regards to the fact that he was present when this accident happened?
So was almost the entire Chamber of Commerce. They were present as well, and not one person saw the chief at fault. The chief overviewed, he oversaw all of this, so did his staff. And this very unfortunate incident happened. Now, I will say to you that a small town such as Punta Gorda that doesn't have the budget to allow the police department to expand and have all the luxuries of separate vaults and separate rooms that the training weapons and the real weapons can be stored in, that is sad. So therefore, we're kind of responsible for not being able to have taxes that would allow them to expand these rooms. There were no policies in place when this happened, as far as keeping, the Punta Gorda police keeping them in separate rooms and everything. And, our chief has now implemented policies that something like this will not happen again.
All right. Thank you.
Punta Gorda, Police Chief Bootlicking sheeple. How would they like IT if their family member was executed, and IT was all because of the thick blue line of corruption? Lewis could have fired Lee Cole after the guy getting mauled by the dog, because he had no light on his bicycle, but he said IT was fine and proper, and because of his stupidity Mary Knowlton is dead, and a man is permanently disabled on one side of his body. Convict Lewis, put him in jail and fire him and take the pension away. If not, you will be the laughing stock of the world.
Hi everybody, this is Marie LaBrasse. I'm coming to you from the City Annex in Punta Gorda, Florida, and I'm here in support of Tom Lewis, who's been charged with culpable negligence in the shooting and death of Mary Knowlton. And I knew Mary, and Mary would have never wanted this to happen. We are here in support of Tom having the charges dropped and Tom keeping his job. Tom is one of the most loving, community-minded, helpful city chiefs that I've ever run into, and I'm old, so I've been around a long, long time. Now, we do have Wink News here, and we have the Charlotte Sun, and they're doing recordings of that, but I'm going to turn it around so you can see. And we have, hi, Rosa Benet, Dancing with the Charlotte Stars, which Tom Lewis did for Arts and Humanities last year in one part of it, and I'm going to turn this around so you can we can interview people, although we do have press here. So, okay, and we do have press here. I'm going to go this way around to get some people. Judy and Rosa, hi, and Mary Ellen. We're Facebook Live right now. We are live. Hi, and we have people here. You're here in support of Tom Lewis, who's the chief. Would you tell my audience here why you're here supporting Tom?
Because Tom is the most involved, sincere, supportive chief of police that I feel we've ever had. You can depend on him no matter where he is, no matter what he's doing. If you need help, he always says, that's our job, to be there for you.
And who are you?
My name is Judy Harris. I don't want to say any affiliations here, but I can't. All I'm saying is that I think it'd be a tragedy on top of another tragedy if we lose Tom Lewis in this community.
Oh, absolutely. And Mary Ellen Taylor, why are you here?
I'm here. One of my volunteer roles is to be on the board at the Blanchard House Black History Museum, and also I live in that neighborhood. And Chief Lewis has really been instrumental in the Tribune neighborhood, in the community, working with the youth, working with the adults, working to build a bond of trust. He's been there for us always. He's been there not only as a police officer, but as a friend to everyone involved, for community meetings, for everything. I mean, I've seen him all over. I know he's a wonderful fundraiser for Punta Gorda in Charlotte County. He's just there. He's
just
a
there.
good man. He's grown in his job since he first became a police officer here, whatever, 20 years ago. He's grown up in it. His whole heart and soul is there. And things happen. And I know one of the questions that I have is, if you're an administrator, and yes, you have responsibility, just as a principal would have responsibility, or a parent has responsibility over their kids, but you're not there every moment, and you figure people are doing their job. So I don't think his job is to go and to micromanage each employee. You know, you assume that, we assume that whatever it is, wherever they keep the weapons and the bullets and whatever, or anything else in that department, is taken care of by the person in charge. So I think it's a huge burden that's on his shoulders. He walked up to the plate right away. It's just, I just don't believe that we should lose this man for all the good he's done. And somewhere along the line, you know, it's been an awful tragedy, an awful mistake, but I don't know, we have to find a way to mend this.
Correct. How about you, Rosa?
Well, like Rosa Benz from Granny Nannies, I could always say that I'm supporting him. He's a great leader in the community, and I love him so much. And please,
keep our chief. Keep our chief. Keep our chief. How about you?
Hi, I'm CJ Metcalf, and my support of the chief is so extensive, I can't even tell you how high it goes. He is one of the most knowledgeable, experienced, professional individuals in this position that I have ever known, and I have a criminal justice major. So, you know, he is admired by all the community and the city. And, you know, to get that to that level is a statement. It says something about his character and his willingness.
And you can hear the community supporting us with all those beeps.
That's the community
it's
going
great.
by.
It's great. And we have received so many hits on our Facebook pages.
Which is? Jen, what's the Facebook page?
Well, you can do #KeepOurChief, and then I have a Keep Our Chief page that I've just started. So
okay.
still
And I know that a GoFundMe page will be active today to help with any kind of expenses that he needs. That the burden is already there, and yeah, and we're not gonna abandon Chief Tom Lewis.
He wouldn't abandon us.
Yeah, he would never abandon us, and he would actually figure out a way. Butch Ardell will probably be watching too, and Butch actually set up the how that city is. He's in support of Tom.
Absolutely, he is.
Yeah. So, anything else you would like to say to my audience?
Keep our chief.
Help
us to keep our chief. And to sit there and be passive will not cut the mustard right now.
No, he needs our support.
He needs our support right now during this time period until the final decision is made. So we encourage everyone to check in on the Facebook pages. I think if you Google Keep Our Chief, we have enough information out there that you'll find something that you can follow and join us if you wish.
Thank you so much. And where did Laura, is that Laura?
Jen,
you got involved here.
Well, the chief is always, I met him at church, and he's very involved with the community and the church. He's involved with our children at school, and he's also supported us. And so when he's in a time of need, that we all need to come together as a community to help him this time, since he always does it for us.
Always.
exactly.
Yay.
Thank you, Jen.
Right. That's
Yay.
for sure.
So-
Absolutely.
How about you? Okay.
Well, I've known Chief Lewis since he first came into the community.
Let me. Okay, we're back on. I'm sorry, I had to take it off Wi-Fi, so it was picking up the strongest signal. Go ahead.
Fire the chief.
I've known Chief Lewis since he first came on the police department, and for everything that I've ever had any opportunity to work with him on, he's been one of the biggest supporters of our community, and I think it would be a terrible loss to our community should he leave. It would be compounding the tragedy to have him leave our community, so we need to keep him around, and we need to keep him as our chief.
Thank you so much. We have children here, but I don't want to show you all the different people here. This is Marie LaBrosse coming to you from the city annex of the city of Punta Gorda, here with some of the supporters that are out here today in support of Chief Tom Lewis. Keep the chief, keep it real, be kind to one another. Thank you so much.
Finally, the husband of Mary Knowlton came out and said that the supporters of Police Chief Tom Lewis are idiots. My wife is dead because of his incompetence. Widower, do the right thing, says Chief. Officer issues should not be a popularity contest. By Rusty Prey. Sun correspondent. Gary Knowlton is no longer in a forgiving mood. The husband of Mary Knowlton, the retired librarian who was shot to death in a public police demonstration August 9, 2016, is angry. I don't want there to be any misconception of my position, Knowlton said in an exclusive interview with The Sun on Saturday. People ask me how I feel, and I've said no comment and leave that to my lawyer. But I'm through with no comments. Knowlton was satisfied with charges brought by State Attorney Steve Russell against Punta Gorda Police Officer Lee Cole and Chief Tom Lewis. Cole, who pulled the trigger, was charged with manslaughter with a firearm, a first-degree felony. Lewis was charged with culpable negligence, a second-degree misdemeanor. Cole faces a maximum of 30 years in prison. Lewis, 60 days in the Charlotte County Jail. State Attorney Russell was right on with his charges, Knowlton said. The public can't ignore the determination. It's what happened after those charges were announced that prompted Knowlton to step forward. On Thursday, City Manager Howard Koenig announced the city would review Cole's employment status in a hearing Wednesday. Cole has been on paid administrative leave since the incident. Koenig also announced that Lewis had been placed on paid administrative leave and that an internal affairs investigation would be conducted as soon as the city completed review of information provided by the state attorney's office, which it did not have in hand. During the press conference to announce the city's response to the charges, Koenig expressed his support of Lewis, calling him a fine man with the best interests of the community at heart. If you believe otherwise, you just don't know him. Let me repeat that. If you believe otherwise, you just don't know him. As the press conference was being held, people gathered outside City Hall to show their support for Lewis. Supporters were out again Friday and have started a Facebook page. Knowlton, 76, who witnessed his wife's death, said he has been angry all along. It was more a timing thing, he said. Maybe what I assumed would be normal procedure. The charges and then the eventual firing of the two people. After the incident, in which Cole shot Mary, 73, with multiple live rounds during a shoot-slash-don't-shoot demonstration, Gary and his sons, Steve and Bill, offered forgiveness. Even though we forgave them because we didn't think they intended to harm Mary, that was just to get the healing started with my boys and me, Gary said. I knew eventually that almost every corporation in the United States would have gone through the process of saying, okay, what caused this? In my mind, it was total incompetence. So, I didn't want the information to get out that I felt everything was going okay with the process. I determined that it was necessary for me to come forward and qualify my position, because I feel that Mary's death was very unnecessary. And it really requires someone to do the right thing. The right thing is not to sit around and watch people that are every day saying, well, Mary wanted to do this way. She's not here, and so I have to speak for that. Reached Saturday, Koenig said the city is doing the right thing. There will be a real investigation as soon as we receive the information from the state attorney, he said. I'm not shying away from any investigation. It will be thorough. Knowlton, a retired CPA who lives in Punta Gorda Isles, said the months since Mary's death have been like going through hell. We've been trying to keep the emotions down, but it's impossible. The three of us are all on different wavelengths. We've worked to try to get closure, but it's not happening. The gathering of Lewis supporters has offended him. He believes they have trivialized his wife's death. I think, with the recent feelings of people, that this shouldn't be a problem for the police chief to maintain his position. What I see is a popularity contest. What Knowlton is looking for is justice for his slain wife. He wants the people involved to be held accountable. I've been around for a while in life, he said. I want it to be consistent with what would happen in any organization. And I couldn't see any consistency there. They're all sitting around worried about each other. That's not right. To use a popularity contest. These guys didn't do their jobs properly, because they should have had the system down that would have assured that there was no real bullet in that chamber. Especially the shooter. It doesn't make any sense. Gary Knowlton says he doesn't want the information to get out that I felt everything was going okay with the process. I determined that it was necessary for me to come forward and qualify my position, because I feel that Mary's death was very unnecessary, and it really requires someone to do the right thing. Sun photo by Rusty Prey. Mary Knowlton. Punta Gorda, Florida, Police Chief Tom Lewis bootlicking sheep. They are blind to the corruption right in front of their face. So they would be fine with having their family member executed by Psycho Lee Cole, and it's Tom Lewis negligence that caused it. Community members show support for Lewis. By Ann Easker. Staff writer. Support for Punta Gorda Police Chief Tom Lewis remains strong despite his pending misdemeanor charge of culpable negligence from the state attorney's office. On Friday, a handful of community members gathered across the street from City Hall with signs reading "Keep Our Chief" and dropped the charge. "He is always there, and he cares about every one of us, law-abiding or not," said C.J. Metcalf, who returned with her sign for the second day in a row. "Even people I know who've been arrested do not have a problem with him." Another supporter, Judy Harris, said Lewis is always available. A few weeks ago, she needed help with something and sent him a message while he was on vacation. Lewis was just getting on a snowmobile, but he stopped and made calls to get her problem fixed. His comment to me, when I said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry to bother you." He said, "That's what we're here for," Harris said. Harris said that for Officer Lee Cole, who pulled the trigger ending Mary Knowlton's life, she would prefer involuntary manslaughter rather than the first-degree felony charge of manslaughter with a firearm. As the one handling the gun, Cole bears some responsibility, but for Lewis, Harris said she hopes his charges just go away. "It's going to be a tragedy on top of another tragedy if we lose him," she said. Her husband, Sam Harris, said he's worked with guns all his life, and there were obviously a lot of mistakes made on the night Knowlton was shot at the public shoot/don't shoot demonstration. Many rules were broken, but Harris said it's unfortunate that all the responsibility has been assigned to Lewis. "Tom is an asset to the community," he said. "We want to keep him here." Marie Labrosi said Lewis is one of the most honest people she knows. "What happened that night could have happened to anyone," she said. Labrosi attended Mary Knowlton's funeral and said she knew the retired librarian personally. "She would have never, ever wanted this," Labrosi said. "If the family can forgive what happened, society should be able to." Gary Knowlton, Mary's husband, has remained silent on the state attorney's charges, but reached by phone Friday, he said he doesn't know what Mary would have wanted. "The only thing I can say is that I can't speak for her," Knowlton said. "I really can't answer you. I thought she liked him as a person when she was alive. That's about all I can address." Lewis's supporters are starting a Facebook page and using the hashtag #KeepWatchIf. They plan to appear outside City Hall and the police department every week and will start a GoFundMe page for the chief's legal fees, which will not be paid by the city. While he is on leave, the chief will continue to receive his annual salary of $92,995. The next Coffee with the Chief, which regularly draws a full room, is scheduled for Tuesday, March 7th, and will be handled by both Interim Chief of Police Jason Ciaschini and City Manager Howard Kunich. For his part, Ciaschini said taking over as the interim chief was simply what had to be done. "I'm honored that City Manager Howard Kunich has the faith in me to handle the responsibility," he said. Ciaschini has been with the department since 1997 and previously served as the Support Services Division Commander. He said the department will continue to provide the same level of service to the community that it always has. Other personnel in the police department personnel are still shocked about what's happening, he said, but they will carry out their professional work as always. "I'm making sure I meet with everyone as best as I can here," he said. "We're still processing, but we're going to be professional and take care of business as we've always taken care of business." Email, easker@sun-herald.com. Community members showed support for Chief Tom Lewis outside of City Hall on Friday. Sun photo by Ann Easker. Punta Gorda police hire crisis communication expert for SPIN, Damage Control Zero by Lee Williams on February 24, 2017 TGW column. The gun writer Punta Gorda City Manager Howard Kunich held a press conference Thursday, after the state attorney's office charged Punta Gorda police officer Lee Cole with manslaughter and police chief Tom Lewis with culpable negligence. KENNETH announced the department was taking steps to fire Cole, and that Lewis had been placed on paid leave pending review of the allegations. Afterward, KENNETH emailed a transcript of his earlier remarks to the media. The contact person on the email caught my eye, Sandy Porretta, owner of Bulldog Strategy Group. According to their website, Bulldog specializes in crisis communication response and training, litigation communication and strategic planning, as well as a full range of communication, public relations and marketing services. I sent the city manager a records request for a copy of the contract between the city, the police department and the PR firm. Florida's open records laws make it difficult for public officials to refuse such a request. The title of the contract tells all: Bulldog Strategy Group Proposal for Crisis Management Services, prepared for the Punta Gorda Police Department and the City of Punta Gorda. The cost for the initial 30-day contract, which was signed August 15, is $5,000, with half paid up front. It has been extended twice, and the current contract extension will expire March 31. In his email, KENNETH said the city has already paid Bulldog $2,500. The City of Punta Gorda is a small organization, and as such we have no PIO position, KENNETH said in the email. We feel this is an economical way to assist in information flow and assistance. I strongly disagree with the city manager. There's a better way to handle communications during a crisis, a simple, two-step formula. Tell the truth. Release the facts when you can. If the city manager would have followed this model instead of hiring an expensive PR firm, he could have saved $15,000 in taxpayer dollars. I know a bit about crisis management as, over the years, I've caused a few crises. When someone brings in a spin doctor, it signals they're more worried about their image and controlling the message than they are about the truth, or getting the facts out to the public. And Punta Gorda police have much more to worry about than their tarnished image. Their training, especially firearms training, is woefully deficient. The proof? Not one officer, sergeant, lieutenant or chief objected when Cole pointed a real revolver at a 73-year-old grandmother and pulled the trigger. At most agencies, there'd have been a chorus of objections, if the training evolution even got that far. The City of Punta Gorda and its police department need to re-evaluate and overhaul their entire training program. It will be a monumental task, but it needs to start immediately. Unfortunately, it seems that right now, city and police officials are a bit more concerned about their image, how they look, instead of what they need to do.
Hey, Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and this is a look at the Punta Gorda Police Facebook page, and I don't know if it's because of me or not. I hope it is. I made the comment to them since finally Lee Cole has been charged with manslaughter, and then the police chief, like a lot of people said, should be charged with negligent manslaughter because he, after Lee Cole let his dog maul somebody for 2 minutes, and he said that's fine, he didn't break any procedures, that he kept the guy on, didn't fire him, and that same psycho Lee Cole went on to execute a lady right in front of him and everybody in the wannabe police classes that the old farts take here. And what happened is they were doing a shoot don't shoot thing, and they used a real gun, which is insane, and nobody checked to make sure it was blanks and not real bullets, because from what they tell us, and hope to God we get the video and picture someday, the police chief was right there in front of him when it happened. He should have been the second person to check that gun before they use it. And in fact, as you all know, in a situation like that, you shouldn't even have a real gun there. So that, there again, it's insane. So I said, and you know, why aren't you going to put the pictures of your 2 criminals there on your Facebook page like you do? You crucify us every single day. You make a bust. Oh my God! You put our picture there, our name there, everything that we did, blah blah blah. Well, they did kind of and kind of not. So this is what happened right here. Punta Gorda Police media statement is yeah, the city manager did not fire Lee Cole. Believe it or not, he's still on paid leave. Oh my freaking God! Lee Cole was arrested and bonded out right away, $5,000 bond. And you know, a friend of mine called and he said that is a joke. He had a DUI and his bond was $6,000. So there's your example. It was a freaking joke. And then the police chief himself, never arrested. It's a second-degree misdemeanor, which, like I said, is a joke again. When it's when it's less than a felony, they do not lose their license. He'll probably get off. And then the city manager, basically what this says is the city manager is really sad that he had to put him on paid vacation. I mean paid leave. When you hear paid leave, that's paid vacation. What the fudge else do you call it, man? You don't have to go to work, and you get paid. Wow. So, so as you see, no picture here, no crucify like they do regular people, but they did at least post it. I am shocked. Supposedly somebody told me that there might be another good thing happening, which is where we don't have to spend the taxpayer money. These guys have to get their own lawyers. That's kind of a good thing. I bet there's a bunch of bootlickers here that are going to kick in to protect these psychos, which is insane. You guys are idiots for that, by the way. I mean, because if you're a police chief and you knew about all this crap, how bad this guy was, and you didn't fire him, and look at all the crap that's happened, and in fact, actually, under the police chief's watch, just a couple of weeks ago, one of the cops tased a 91-year-old guy in a nursing home. That is insane. If you can't handle a 91-year-old guy, then you're a pussy and you don't need to be a cop, period. And he did. 91 freaking years old. And yet the city manager is like, he's a really nice guy. Oh, freaking people are dead and maimed. But he's a nice guy. You guys are a bunch of freaking nutcase Fruit Loops. So as you know, I keep attaching all the stories to the other stories. You know, the history of this nightmare here is unbelievable. And some of you know too, this is the same place that has illegally looked me up for years on the FCIC system, and they will not answer. They, by law, when you ask in a FOIA request, have to tell you why they looked you up, and they won't tell. So we know one of the reasons why. The lawyer that gave me the video on the dog mall, the next day they illegally looked me up just because I posted a video. It is sad. This place is sick. You need to go to the Facebook, page here, make comments that you pricks need to be defunded badly. The city manager needs to be fired too, big time, and or held possibly on negligent homicide, because he did not get rid of the bad cop. He did not get rid of the bad police chief. So, somebody said that in the when they were on the news, that some of the reporters were saying, what about you? Maybe you should be held culpable. And he's like, no, not me. Maybe the city council. So, anyways, that's the update here. They crucify everybody else on their page with the picture and the story and, and all that kind of crap. But no, not a cop, because they're above the law, and the thick blue line of corruption is disgustingly thick.
Wink News begins with breaking news.
And breaking out the top at noon, Wink News just learned the Punta Gorda police chief is now on administrative leave with pay. Just yesterday, the state attorney's office made a bombshell announcement. Chief Tom Lewis and Officer Lee Cole both now face criminal charges in the fatal shooting of a woman during a training exercise last August. Now, in just the past 2 hours, the city manager held a news conference and defended Chief Lewis.
He said the chief is a fine man and the police department is high quality. The shooting made national headlines. A loaded gun went off during a role-play demonstration, killing 73-year-old Mary Knowlton. Wink News reporter Nicole Valdez is live in Punta Gorda. Nicole, what else did the city manager say today?
It was a tough call, but it had to be done. That's exactly how City Manager Howard Koenig describes making the decision to put Chief Tom Lewis on administrative leave. But his future as a top cop is still up in the air. Koenig saying he won't be making any final decisions until he reviews the full report from FDLE. Now, today, Koenig refused to comment on the charges filed against either officer, but he announced Officer Cole will have a disciplinary hearing before city leaders next week to determine if he stays on the force. Now, the main focus of this morning's meeting was on Chief Lewis and his status. Koenig admitting he knows Lewis personally, calling him an honorable man. He's always had the best interest of the community at heart, and if you disagree with him, quote, you just don't know him. He says the department took some hits after the death of Mary Knowlton, but they do plan on launching a full internal investigation.
We are entwined at the hip. We are a team, just like all the other departments in the city. So the actions taken by our police department are something that positive, many positive, and if there's mistakes that are made, they reflect on our organization as a whole, including me.
Now, while the charges have already been filed, many members of the community are still questioning whether Chief Lewis shares responsibility for Knowlton's death. We spoke to one woman today who sat right outside City Hall supporting Chief Lewis, saying she does not believe he should be held responsible even with the charges.
This is a case where the snowball rolled uphill. And, you know, that'd be like the city manager. Is the city manager here next? Is he next to be relieved of his job? Because technically the city manager oversees the police department. So how far do you want to roll the snowball uphill?
And the city has appointed an interim chief until this all gets sorted out. Captain Jason Caccini will now take over the top spot. In the meantime, Cole will face a disciplinary hearing next week with city leaders. Live in Punta Gorda, I'm Nicole Valdez, Week News Now.
All right, Nicole, thank you very much.
Well, I guess how soon would you like that? No, it's not yet. What do you want? I think you already there you go.
Michael. Ready? Hi, I'm Howard Kunick, City Manager for the City of Punta Gorda. Thank you all for coming. I'm here to provide a status update as it relates to the incident where we tragically lost Mary Knowlton. We continue to grieve her loss and support her family wherever possible, however possible. So here's what we know. As you're aware, the State Attorney's Office has charged Officer Lee Cole with first-degree manslaughter. This decision was reached after an investigation by the State Attorney's Office and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE. Today, we delivered a notice of a pre-disciplinary hearing, which will be handled by the city's Human Resources Manager and Labor Attorney. The purpose of this hearing is to determine his future employment status with the department. Officer Cole has the right to appeal any outcome to the city manager. And as such, I cannot comment further to protect the integrity of this process. We were also notified yesterday that Chief Tom Lewis has been charged with culpable negligence, a second degree. In light of this development, pending further review. In the interim, Captain Jason Caccini will assume the role of acting Chief of Police while we sort this out. It is important to note that at this time, the City Manager's Office has not received any of the investigative files from the State Attorney's Office or FDLE. We cannot make any determination about Chief Lewis's future status without first reviewing this information. We will launch a full internal affairs investigation into the entire situation once we receive the investigative files. Now on a personal note. I know our police department is a high-quality police department. I know this because of the constant positive feedback we receive from our community members, from the weekly quality assurance reviews we conduct with the public, and from the department's commitment to professional standards and accreditation. I am confident that the vast majority of our community members feel the same way. I also know Tom Lewis is a fine man. I know he is committed to excellence in his profession and has the best interest of the community at heart. If you believe otherwise, you just don't know him. Let me repeat that. If you believe otherwise, you just don't know him. That is the full extent of what we know at this point. We can entertain a few questions, but if we cannot answer because of the pending charges or pending internal affairs investigation, we will tell you so.
Or was there an option to keep the chief on the job?
Yes.
And who made the decision not to?
Not to put him on administrative leave of pay? I did.
How hard would that be?
It's under the purview of the city manager. When you're dealing with employees' status, it is always a difficult decision to deal with an employee's employment status. And And I know Tom personally for over the years. So, are you saying, is this difficult? I feel it's had to be done. And things like this are never easy. But if a decision has to be made, it's under my purview how to make it.
You said you were waiting for the files from the state attorney's office. Have you been in contact with them, and do you know when you're going to be receiving those?
I have been in contact with them. They have been in contact with us. I do not know when we will receive them.
Did anyone ever ask the former chief, Butch Arundel, why he hired Lee Cole after Cole apparently was rejected for employment by at least 20 police departments?
I have not.
Do you know whether Tom Lewis has?
I don't know. I have not.
When is this pre-disciplinary hearing be held?
Next week.
One other question about Lee Cole. You had told me in the past that the buck stops with you.
Yes, it does.
After the dog bite incident, you hired an outside expert who came back and said that Cole acted reasonably.
Yes.
Despite that, if you look at what happened on the video, his first words were, "Stop," or on the bike, "Stop, or I'll send the dog." Do you have any second thoughts now as to whether we would have been all better off if you had fired Lee Cole after the dog incident?
Mike, let me respond this way. It's always easy for us as human beings to second guess things. We can always do that. I'm not going to second guess what happened. We, as a organization, looked at the video and we had questions. We had legitimate questions. And that's why we brought on the independent expert who's an expert in canine. Because we, personally, I myself, members of the police department, said, you know, is that the type of service and that's the type of response we want to do in the city? Well, when it came back the way it did, I'm not going to second guess the actions we took. We took them with the best interest that we had at the time, and we changed our policy.
Chief Lewis has been a member of the department for almost 20 years now. Can you talk about what you saw in him and what the city saw to promote him to chief?
Yes, actually I promoted him to chief. He's an honorable man. He's known statewide, done a lot of work for Southwest Florida Police Chiefs Association, for the Accreditation Association. He's extremely bright, extremely knowledgeable, extremely personable. He's out there in the community, meeting with different groups at events, donates his time. I don't know who else donates more time than he does to the community. And he'd be the man. And so this is a tough call.
Do you feel it's unfair for him to be charged in this incident?
I'm not going to comment on what the state attorney. We were independent of that.
One of the women outside, said obviously he was supervising training, but how far up are you going to go? And she mentioned, are you going to go as far up as the city manager, because he's the one who supervises the police chief? How do you feel about making it go all the way up the ranks like that?
As city manager, this is a council manager form of government, and the employees report to the city manager. They do not report to city council. So personnel decisions and the day-to-day operations are handled by the city manager. I, as the city manager, and the police department, we are entwined at the hip. We are a team, just like all the other departments in the city. So the actions taken by our police department are something that positive, many positive, and if there's mistakes that are made, they reflect on our organization as a whole, including me. So that's all I have to say about that.
We can take one more
question.
question.
Do you have any sense of what morale is like in the police department right now?
I can give you my thoughts, yes. Actually, around 5 o'clock, I met with the police department staff, as many of them that could be there. You know, we had a nice conversation. You know, after the Mary Knowlton incident, you know, we took some hits, you know, rightly so, and they continued and will continue to provide the high level of service in this community that this community expects. That will not fall down. They are committed, and that will continue. So things will go on.
Thank you guys so much. I'll stick around in case you guys have any technical questions, but thank you, Howard. We appreciate you guys being here.
The captain who's taking over as chief?
Captain Jason Caccini.
I can spell that for you, yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate it. Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let me grab one more 10 and I'll come back with it. Yes, thank you. I make this counted, but
I got it. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Got it. I would not have a statement that needs one. Mike, I have cleanup.
Are we ready? Hi, I'm Howard Kunick, City Manager for the City of Punta Gorda. Thank you all for coming. I'm here to provide a status update as it relates to the incident where we tragically lost Mary Knowlton. We continue to grieve her loss and support her family wherever possible, however possible. So here's what we know. As you're aware, the State Attorney's Office has charged Officer Lee Cole with first-degree manslaughter. This decision was reached after an investigation by the State Attorney's Office and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE. Today, we delivered a notice of a pre-disciplinary hearing, which will be handled by the city's Human Resources Manager and Labor Attorney. The purpose of this hearing is to determine his future employment status with the department. Officer Cole has the right to appeal any outcome to the city manager. And as such, I cannot comment further to protect the integrity of this process. We were also notified yesterday that Chief Tom Lewis has been charged with culpable negligence, a second degree. In light of this development, pending further review. In the interim, Captain Jason Caccini will assume the role of acting Chief of Police while we sort this out. It is important to note that at this time, the City Manager's Office has not received any of the investigative files from the State Attorney's Office or FDLE. We cannot make any determination about Chief Lewis's future status without first reviewing this information. We will launch a full internal affairs investigation into the entire situation once we receive the investigative files. Now on a personal note. I know our police department is a high-quality police department. I know this because of the constant positive feedback we receive from our community members, from the weekly quality assurance reviews we conduct with the public, and from the department's commitment to professional standards and accreditation. I am confident that the vast majority of our community members feel the same way. I also know Tom Lewis is a fine man. I know he is committed to excellence in his profession and has the best interest of the community at heart. If you believe otherwise, you just don't know him. Let me repeat that. If you believe otherwise, you just don't know him. That is the full extent of what we know at this point. We can entertain a few questions, but if we cannot answer because of the pending charges or pending internal affairs investigation, we will tell you so.
Howard, was there an option to keep the chief on the job?
Yes.
And who made the decision not to?
Not to put him on administrative leave of pay? I did.
How hard was that?
It's under the purview of the city manager. When you're dealing with employees' status, it is always a difficult decision to deal with an employee's employment status. And I know Tom personally for over the years. So, are you saying, is this difficult? I feel it's had to be done. And things like this are never easy. But if a decision has to be made, it's under my purview how to make it.
You said you were waiting for the files from the state attorney's office. Have you been in contact with them, and do you know when you're going to be receiving those?
I have been in contact with them. They have been in contact with us. I do not know when we will receive them.
Did anyone ever ask the former chief, Butch Arundel, why he hired Lee Cole after Cole apparently was rejected for employment by at least 20 police departments?
I have not.
Do you know whether Tom Lewis has?
I don't know. I have not.
When is this pre-disciplinary hearing be held?
Next week.
One other question about Lee Cole. You had told me in the past that the buck stops with you.
Yes, it does.
After the dog bite incident, you hired an outside expert who came back and said that Cole acted reasonably.
Yes.
Despite that, if you look at what happened on the video, his first words were, "Stop," or on the bike, "Stop, or I'll send the dog." Do you have any second thoughts now as to whether we would have been all better off if you had fired Lee Cole after the dog incident?
Mike, let me respond this way. It's always easy for us as human beings to second-guess things. We can always do that. I'm not going to second-guess what happened. We, as a organization, looked at the video, and we had questions. We had legitimate questions. And that's why we brought on the independent expert who's an expert in canine. Because we, personally, I myself, members of the police department, said, you know, is that the type of service and that's the type of response we want to do in the city? Well, when it came back the way it did, I'm not going to second guess the actions we took. We took them with the best interest that we had at the time, and we changed our policy.
Chief Lewis has been a member of the department for almost 20 years now. Can you talk about what you saw in him and what the city saw to promote him to chief?
Yes, actually I promoted him to chief. He's an honorable man. He's known statewide, done a lot of work for Southwest Florida Police Chiefs Association, for the Accreditation Association. He's extremely bright, extremely knowledgeable, extremely personable. He's out there in the community, meeting with different groups at events, donates his time. I don't know who else donates more time than he does to the community. And he'd be the man. And so this is a tough call.
Do you feel it's unfair for him to be charged in this incident?
I'm not going to comment on what the state attorney, we were independent of that.
One of the women outside, said obviously he was supervising training, but how far up are you going to go? And she mentioned, are you going to go as far up as the city manager, because he's the one who supervises the police chief? How do you feel about making it go all the way up the ranks like that?
As city manager, this is a council manager form of government, and the employees report to the city manager. They do not report to city council. So personnel decisions and the day-to-day operations are handled by the city manager. I, as the city manager, and the police department, we are entwined at the hip. We are a team, just like all the other departments in the city. So the actions taken by our police department are something that positive, many positive, and if there's mistakes that are made, they reflect on our organization as a whole, including me. So that's all I have to say about that.
We can take one more question.
Do you have any sense of what morale is like in the police department right now?
I can give you my thoughts, yes. Actually, around 5 o'clock, I met with the police department staff, as many of them that could be there. We had a nice conversation. After the Mary Knowlton incident, we took some hits, rightly so, and they continued and will continue to provide the high level of service in this community that this community expects. That will not fall down. They are committed, and that will continue. So things will go on.
Thank you guys so much. I'll stick around in case you guys have any technical questions, but thank you, Howard. We appreciate you guys being here.
The captain who is taking over as chief?
Captain Jason Caccini.
I can spell that for you, yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Police officers are facing charges for the shooting death of a retired librarian, Mary Knowlton. The man you see here pointing the gun during this demonstration, and his boss, the police chief.
Tonight we asked both for comment, and you can see here they ignored our reporters' questions.
The Night Beat's Bob Erzik digging deeper into Officer Lee Cole's turbulent past.
But let's start our team coverage tonight with the Night Beat's Kim Powell, who was there when the shooting happened back in August.
She's live in Punta Gorda now at the police department with new developments.
Well, this is an emotionally charged case for the people of Punta Gorda. Many of the people we spoke to today were stunned by the charges, but just about everyone agrees that this was a freak accident that had a tragic ending. It's been 6 months since 73-year-old Mary Knowlton, a beloved librarian, participated in a Citizens Police Academy alongside her husband and co-workers. It's been 6 months since she was killed in that class in a shoot-don't-shoot scenario that ended horribly.
The whole city and the Knowlton family have been through a lot.
Punta Gorda City Manager Howard Koenig found out about the charges shortly before a news conference this afternoon. Police Chief Tom Lewis is charged with a misdemeanor for negligence, and Officer Lee Cole, the man who pulled the trigger, is charged with manslaughter.
He's devastated. He was confident that no charges would be brought, and he's upset. And most importantly, he wants to send condolences as he always had to the Knowlton family and how sorry he is that this happened.
Officer Cole turned himself in. Only Wink News was there when he posted bond.
How do you feel right now that you've been charged?
I already said he's not making any comment.
The chief also did not comment. Chief, do you have any comment?
He is probably a good officer. I hope sentence is short and not in jail.
I don't really feel it's the police chief's fault.
Cole's attorney says Cole did not know there was a live ammunition in the gun. However, he says he and Cole know how the gun got loaded, but wouldn't elaborate. And the city manager is expected to hold a news conference tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. You can count on Wink News to be there. Live on the Night Beat, I'm Kim Powell, Wink News. Now.
Kim, thank you for that. The Night Beat's Bob Berzik here picking up our team coverage now. This isn't the first time that either the chief or that officer, Officer Cole, has been in some trouble.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. The Citizens Academy shooting was one of several career incidents for Officer Lee Cole. He started his career with the Miramar Police Department, where in his rookie year, he was involved in 2 internal affairs investigations, including this one, where he yanked a man out of the back of his cruiser. After a year on probation, Cole lost his job. Then after applying to 25 agencies around Miami, Punta Gorda police finally hired him. Then a week after being counseled for insubordination, Cole saw a man riding his bicycle without a light. The man wouldn't stop, so Cole sicked his canine dog on him. The man sued the Punta Gorda Police Department, which settled with him for $70,000. Punta Gorda Police Chief Tom Lewis was also charged today with a misdemeanor. We uncovered in 2009 that while going through a divorce, Lewis ran the names of his wife's witnesses through the state computer to find out more about them. Lewis was a captain at the time, and Punta Gorda police suspended him for 2 weeks without pay. And so far, the charges against Officer Lee Cole and Police Chief Tom Lewis, are they appropriate? Well, we'll dig into that at 10:30. On the Night Beat, Bob Berzik, Wink News now.
Bob, thank you. Wink News was first to break the charges against Officer Cole and Chief Lewis today, and we aired the state attorney's announcement live on Facebook. We'll bring you tomorrow morning's press conference with the city manager live on Facebook, too.
Two Punta Gorda police officers this morning faced charges in the shooting death of retired librarian Mary Knowlton. It took place at the Citizens Police Academy 6 months ago. This morning, we expect to hear from the city manager about the charges. Wink News reporter Nicole Valdez in Punta Gorda with what we expect to happen today. Good morning.
Rob, a shocking decision not only to charge Officer Lee Cole with manslaughter, but also to hold Chief of Police Tom Lewis accountable with culpable negligence for the death of 73-year-old Mary Knowlton. She was shot 6 months ago at police headquarters during a Citizens Police Academy training exercise. Now, Knowlton volunteered to participate in a shoot-don't-shoot scenario, but Cole fired a gun with live rounds inside it. Now, at the time, Chief Lewis called it all a horrible accident, and so many in the community mourned the loss of Knowlton, a beloved community member here in the city of Punta Gorda. Now, only Wink News was there yesterday as Cole walked out of the Charlotte County Jail just hours after being charged. He refused to answer any of our questions, but his attorney tells us Cole wasn't expecting any charges.
He's devastated. He was confident that no charges would be brought, and he's upset. And most importantly, he wants to send condolences, as he always had, to the Knowlton family and how sorry he is that this happened.
Now, the Knowlton family settled with the city of Punta Gorda in November for $2 million to keep this case out of the courts, but we are expecting to hear from City Manager Howard Koenig at 10 a.m. this morning. Count on Wink News for complete coverage. Live in Charlotte County, I'm Nicole Valdez. Wink News now.
An NBC2 News alert tonight. The Punta Gorda police officer who shot and killed a librarian during a training exercise is out of jail tonight. Officer Lee Cole is being charged with manslaughter. 73-year-old Mary Knowlton was killed back in August during a Citizens Police Academy training exercise.
Officer Cole's gun was supposed to be filled with blanks, not live ammunition. Police Chief Tom Lewis also facing misdemeanor charges for culpable negligence. NBC2's Graham Hunter is live at the police station tonight after speaking with Mary Knowlton's friends about today's stunning development. Graham?
Well, Mary Knowlton's death rocked the Punta Gorda community where she spent so much time volunteering. She was a big supporter of law enforcement. Now, 2 police officers are facing charges in her death.
She was just a perfect person.
Memories of Mary Knowlton come flooding back.
She was just quite an exceptional person.
Her neighbors like Joe Lizelle, who knew her. Knowlton's life came to an end last August while at a Citizens Police Academy at the Punta Gorda Police Department. Her husband watched as his wife was shot and killed just feet away.
And to think that he was sitting there, I mean, that's what's so... I mean, when it happened, he was in the audience.
Officer Lee Cole fired the fatal shot from a gun that was supposed to have a blank round in it.
What the hell happened? I mean, how could this happen?
During a shoot-don't-shoot scenario.
There was a breakdown of every oversight.
Now Officer Cole is facing a manslaughter charge for Knowlton's death.
He shouldn't have been hired.
The officer with a checkered past.
I have no idea why a police chief would want that man on his team.
Punta Gorda Police Chief Tom Lewis is charged with a misdemeanor for culpable negligence.
If you're the police chief, ultimately, you are responsible for everything that happens on your watch.
But Knowlton's neighbors know no amount of justice will ever bring back the woman they knew and loved.
So how does anybody ever get over that or get past that or have closure on that? Obviously, it's impossible.
The Punta Gorda city manager is hosting a press conference Thursday morning in light of these charges filed by the state attorney's office. You can count on NBC2 to be there pressing for answers on the future of Chief Lewis. Reporting live from Punta Gorda, Graham Hunter, NBC2.
Tonight with a bombshell development rocking the Punta Gorda Police Department. The police chief and one of his officers both facing charges tonight, 6 months after a librarian was gunned down during a Citizens Police Academy.
The state charging officer Lee Cole with felony manslaughter, and Chief Tom Lewis is facing a misdemeanor count of culpable negligence because the incident happened under his watch.
Investigators say that Officer Cole accidentally killed Mary Knowlton last August during some live demonstration there, and his gun was actually carrying live rounds instead of the blanks that it was supposed to be carrying that night. 4 in Your Corner's Tony Sadiku live in Charlotte County tonight. He's leading our coverage on this. Tony?
Patrick, Amy, the officer accused of shooting Mary Knowlton, arrested and charged today after a months-long investigation revealed that the officer acted with negligence. The police chief, Tom Lewis, also facing a citation. Today, I spoke with neighbors about what they think about the criminal charges.
Looking at the totality of the facts and evidence, brought our office to this decision.
State Attorney Stephen Russell announcing the completed investigation today after a Punta Gorda police officer accidentally shot and killed Mary Knowlton back in August.
The Knowlton family is dealing with a tremendous loss.
The officer, Lee Cole, had been on administrative leave while the state attorney conducted the investigation. Today, Cole turning himself in to police at the Charlotte County Jail, where he's facing a felony charge for manslaughter with a firearm. It's a charge that can carry up to a 30-year sentence.
That officer, no business being an officer, in my opinion.
Former neighbors of Knowlton tell me today this is the closure they've been waiting 6 months for.
I think it's good news. There's no excuse for having a loaded firearm in a situation like that.
Knowlton was a beloved wife, mother, and well-known in her community, often volunteering at the local library.
This is a somewhat unique, difficult case. Difficult for the community, difficult for those involved, difficult in some respects for a prosecutor.
The state attorney also pointing a finger at Punta Gorda Police Chief Tom Lewis. He's facing a misdemeanor culpable negligence charge in connection with Knowlton's death.
I think I could see some negligence there, absolutely.
Russell, however, wouldn't comment on how ammunition made its way inside a gun that was supposed to have a blank at the shoot-don't-shoot training simulation.
A terrible situation for the Punta Gorda Police Department to be in.
Nicole has since bonded out of jail. I did reach out to city officials and the Punta Gorda Police Department to get their reaction on the completed investigation, to see if Cole has been relieved of his duties, and to get the status of Chief Lewis. They tell me they're going to be making a statement at a press conference tomorrow morning. Count on 4 in Your Corner to be there and to bring you the very latest. For now, reporting live in Punta Gorda, Tony Sadiku, Fox 4 in Your Corner.
All right, thank you.
Finally they are charged, but is IT enough?
Will they get off? It is so corrupt here that we wonder if the thick blue line of corruption will let Punta Gorda Police Lee Cole get off, and the charge against Chief Tom Lewis is a joke, not even taken to jail, and only a second-degree misdemeanor. If it were regular people, they would have been crucified already. Police chief, cop charged in death. Knowlton investigation yields manslaughter charge for Cole. Lewis faces negligence charge. By Ann Easker, staff writer. Punta Gorda. Both Punta Gorda Police Chief Tom Lewis and Officer Lee Cole have been criminally charged in the August 9, 2016, fatal shooting of Mary Knowlton. State Attorney Steve Russell announced the charges in a press conference Wednesday at the Charlotte County Justice Center. Cole pulled the trigger, killing the 73-year-old retired librarian during a public demonstration at the police department gone terribly wrong. He now faces the first-degree felony charge of manslaughter with a firearm, while Lewis has been charged with culpable negligence, a second-degree misdemeanor. Cole turned himself in Wednesday and left the Charlotte County Jail after posting a $5,000 bond. According to Russell, he is not considered a flight risk. So far, city officials have kept quiet on the announcement, and it's unclear whether Lewis will continue to serve as police chief. Russell said it's up to the city to make decisions on continued employment. Punta Gorda police officer Lee Cole is escorted out of the Charlotte County Jail on Wednesday with his attorney Jerry Berry after posting bond. He was charged with felony manslaughter in the death of Mary Knowlton. Andrew West / The News Press. City Manager Howard Kunick made no statement Wednesday, but will appear in a press conference today at 10 a.m. in the lobby of City Hall Annex. Lewis previously said he would not step down as chief after the shooting, stating that he did not want to create further instability in the police department. His misdemeanor charge did not require an arrest, but he is required to appear in court on April 5. Russell expressed his condolences to the Knowlton family and said his office met with Mary's husband, Gary Knowlton, to inform him that the case would move forward. Forrest J. Bass, Knowlton's attorney, emailed the following in response to a request for comment. On behalf of the Knowlton family, we ask for your continued respect for the family's request for privacy. We have no further comment relative to the tragic loss of Mary Knowlton or today's developments. Russell said he cannot discuss the evidence in the case yet, as it is an active criminal case. However, more information will be available in the following weeks when an investigation by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement is made public after it is shared with defense counsel. He said the investigation was a labor-intensive process, requiring review of the full investigation and additional interviews to help illustrate what happened at the scene as well as what led to this turn of events. I appreciate your patience as this case required us to review not just what happened on the day of the shooting, but also many other events that played a part in what happened the day of the incident, Russell said. The charging documents state that Cole, on or about August 9, 2016, in Charlotte County, Florida, did unlawfully, by act or culpable negligence, kill Mary Knowlton, a human being, and during the commission of said offense, did carry, display, use or attempt to use a weapon or firearm. For Lewis, the documents say he, on or about August 9, 2016, in Charlotte County, Florida, did unlawfully, through culpable negligence, expose Mary Knowlton to personal injury, by failing to implement and utilize sufficient safety protocols. Cole will be represented in court by attorney Jerry Berry, based in Naples. Berry said they were surprised and disappointed that the state attorney's office decided to go forward with the prosecution. We think the evidence will show that while Officer Cole may have been negligent, his negligence doesn't rise to the level of criminal negligence, he said. Berry would not comment on the specific details of the case except to say that Cole did not know there was live ammunition in his gun. He said he was confident if the case goes on to a jury trial, the jury will find Cole not guilty. Punta Gorda Mayor Rachel Kisling and Vice Mayor Gary Wine did not respond to email inquiries, and council members Lynn Matthews and Jaha Cummings did not return phone calls. Councilmember Nancy Prafk said, "We all still mourn the loss of Mary. At this point, I respect the process, and now it is in the hands of our city manager." Even witnesses at the scene, including Chamber of Commerce President John Wright, deferred to Koenig, who was busy in meetings all day, according to his assistant. Russell said convictions for manslaughter can end with sentences anywhere from low probation to 30 years in prison. Second-degree misdemeanors, on the other hand, extend to only 60 days in the county jail. Russell concluded by stating that both the Punta Gorda Police Department and the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office continue to serve Charlotte County citizens. While my office is endeavoring to responsibly address this difficult, somewhat unique, tragic event, Charlotte County continues to be well served by its law enforcement community. Email, esker@sun-herald.com.
Give me 1 second. That would be great.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's it. No. Oh.
Thank you, Mr.
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you all for being here today. I'm here to announce that our review of the tragic shooting that happened at the Punta Gorda Police Department on August 9th, 2016 during a Punta Gorda Chamber of Commerce Citizens Academy has been completed. Officer Lee Cole, during a role play scenario, shot and killed citizen Mary Milton. I want to first again send my condolences to the family of Mary Milton. As we have gone through this process, we met with Mary's husband, and we've advised his counsel that we are moving forward on this case. The Milton family is dealing with a tremendous loss, and we wanted to make sure that they are informed. My office has thoroughly reviewed the evidence and many facts and circumstances involving this incident. This has been a very labor-intensive process and has involved a lot of investigative work. We are charging Punta Gorda Police Officer Lee Cole with 1 count of manslaughter with a firearm, which is a first-degree felony. We are also charging Punta Gorda Police Chief Tom Lewis with 1 count of culpable negligence which is a second-degree misdemeanor. As this is an active criminal case, I cannot discuss the evidence. I can, however, tell you there is a very voluminous amount of information we reviewed. We looked at the crime scene, photographs, and videos of the incident. We went through a large volume of investigative material from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Further, many people were interviewed to help illustrate what happened at the scene, as well as what led to this turn of events. Looking at the totality of the facts and evidence brought our office to this decision. I know many of you have contacted us daily for updates. I appreciate your patience, as this case required us to review not just what happened on the day of the shooting, but also many other events that played a part in what happened the day. In other words, things in the background that may have led to the events of August 9th. As you're aware, as we move forward on this prosecution, because of Florida's open public records law, we will be able to provide a more complete picture of the vast amount of information we reviewed. I also want to thank the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for the hard work they have put in this investigation and in providing us support. To the citizens of Charlotte County, I want to say that while my office is endeavoring to responsibly address this difficult, somewhat unique and tragic event, Charlotte County continues to be well served by its law enforcement community. And I include in that regard the Punta Gorda Police Department, County Sheriff's Department, and other agencies having jurisdiction here in Charlotte County. That's pretty much it. I have copies of the information, and I'll answer questions on process, but please understand I can't go into evidentiary items to any degree. Yes?
Is the FDLE report now public?
The process is such that as this case starts today, once we give out discovery to defense counsel, then it will be public for those of you who request it. In other words, the materials that generally go out to defense counsel, most of that, unless there's some specific exemption, will be made public at that time. I anticipate that will be in the next couple of weeks, not today, but in the next couple of weeks.
Why will it take so long?
Because that's the law. The law exempts and the case law interprets that our obligation in terms of public records does not start until the defense counsel gets their copy of the discovery, and that triggers the public records law.
Has the investigation been able to determine who loaded the gun?
Again, that's an evidentiary matter, and I can't go into that. The information ultimately released publicly, which really is the beauty of the public records law in Florida, allows you and others to, any citizen, to see what information is there.
Have Cole and Lewis been arrested or informed of this?
Well, let me be clear. Officer Cole has been arrested and processed, and Chief Lewis is charged with a second-degree misdemeanor. He has been served with a summons. He is not being arrested. It is a second-degree misdemeanor, and it does not require arrest or other processing. So that's the situation there.
And can you explain, what went into the? I know you said you can't go into much evidence, but what went into the decision to charge Chief Lewis in this case?
I'm not going to go into the evidence. I will read you a copy of the information. This is not the signed file, but it is a copy of the substance of the information. In terms of Chief Tom Lewis, the relevant portion is that on or about August 9th, 2016 in Charlotte County, Florida, the charge is he did unlawfully through culpable negligence exposed Mary Knowlton to personal injury by failing to implement and utilize sufficient safety protocols, contrary to Florida statute. And again, that's a second-degree misdemeanor.
Is there any change in his status as chief while he's going through these charges?
Our purview does not include his status. That's up to the city of Punta Gorda.
When was Officer Cole arrested?
Today.
Has he made bail yet, or is he?
He has a CAPWATCH, which is a formal name for order of the court, and my understanding has a $5,000 bond. We don't consider him a fake risk, which is the purpose of bond generally.
He was processed at the Charlotte County Jail?
Yes.
What was the responses of the family to when you explained what was going to happen?
Well, we met with the family some time ago with an attorney representing them. Therefore, we informed the attorney that we would be having these charges, and then allowed that attorney to consult with the family. We had a good meeting with Ms. Knowlton's husband some time ago. We understand that he is somewhat of a private person in his family, and we're going to respect that.
In your years as state attorney, can you talk about the uniqueness of this case?
Well, as I said in my comments, I think generally we recognize this is a somewhat unique, difficult case. Difficult for the community, difficult for those involved, difficult in some respects for a prosecutor, but we have to do what's appropriate in terms of holding people accountable in that regard. So we make our decisions on the law and the facts. We don't make it based on other aspects.
What message do you think charging Officer Cole and Chief Tom Lewis, what message do you think this sends to the community that you are charging them?
Well, I can't speak on messages or what the community interprets. I can tell you that we go through what's constitutionally required due process of law. And it sometimes takes some time, sometimes frustratingly long time, not only for the public, but for us. And I hope that the public understands we did a thorough, deliberative process to assess what on the surface is a difficult and unique case, and came to the conclusion that we felt these are the appropriate charges, and then we will let the system take its course, and certainly respect the rights of all parties involved.
Was Officer Cole relieved of his duties?
I cannot speak for what the city of Punta Gorda.
That doesn't come automatically with the arrest?
It's not within our purview. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement has oversight over certification of law enforcement officers. The employer has oversight of their employees. All we are doing is as a public prosecutor what we feel is appropriate.
How many hours do you think your team put in on this case?
I don't know. I can just tell you over the last several months I've had many hour meetings and follow-up investigation, clarification, additional interviews, research, just a whole myriad of aspects. And again, I emphasize, not just as to the incident of August 9th, but the background and other events and incidents that might bear on that.
For those that may understand the difference in charges, why the manslaughter charge as opposed to a different kind?
In reviewing the totality of the evidence and information, we have to make a decision as to what applies to any individual. It doesn't mean that the circumstances as to one individual will necessarily be the same as to another individual. There are different facts to each.
As you did with Chief Lewis's charge, would you mind reading aloud the charge for Officer Cole?
Yes. Lee Cole being charged with manslaughter with a firearm, first-degree felony, and the relevant portion in terms of the charge is that allegedly on or about August 9th, 2016 in Charlotte County, Florida, that he did unlawfully by act or culpable negligence kill Mary Knowlton, a human being, and during the commission of said offense to carry, display, use, or attempt to use a weapon or firearm.
Do you know who the arresting agency was?
Well, the arresting agency was at the jail. He turned himself in, Mr. Cole, with counsel. Counsel was advised, and counsel has been very cooperative in processing it. And the summons was served on Chief Lewis.
Do you know who his attorney is?
Jerry Barrett, based primarily in Collier County.
And he turned himself into the Charlotte jail.
Yeah.
What are the possible sentences for these charges?
Well, the sentences from, this is general, for manslaughter is from a low probation to a high of 30 years in the state prison and a $10,000 fine. That's the maximum. I'm not trying to imply what the sentence would be should someone be convicted. Depends. For the second-degree misdemeanor, the lower level would be basically anything from nothing reprimand to 60 days in the county jail or a $500 fine. It's the lower level.
Will Lee Cole make first appearance tomorrow?
I anticipate that Mr. Cole will find it out. There would be no first appearance. There's a capious which the judge puts a bond on, and the process would then go to basically to an arraignment date.
Do you know what the bond amount was?
$5,000. Any other questions?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
I'll meet you.
All new on Wink News at 6.
The chief has been doing a PR campaign about, I'm open, I'm honest, anything you want to talk about. Well, he doesn't want to talk about these other incidents. He didn't release these other incidents until you had to go digging through like a madman to find them.
Wink News pushes to get memos from the Punta Gorda Police Department about Lee Cole, the cop who shot 73-year-old Mary Knowlton during a shoot, don't shoot citizens demonstration back in August. These are memos that have never been made public before.
And tonight we'll tell you about the memo from an officer who trains other cops witnessing Lee Cole making what she basically calls a wrongful arrest. Wink News investigative reporter Dave Colbreth has the exclusive.
This sort of stuff should be unacceptable in any law enforcement agency.
He was a one-man wrecking crew in Punta Gorda, and nobody tried to stop him.
Is he fabricating things? Is he making things up just to make the arrest?
3 longtime Charlotte County attorneys, all who have also been prosecutors in their career, read this memo about an arrest made by Lee Cole, which the Punta Gorda police never released until Wink News spent a great deal of effort and hundreds of dollars.
Just shows that the Punta Gorda Police Department was hiding this stuff. Every news agency in the country was asking for these type of documents.
The memo really hit home for Steve Leskovich because it was about his client, Jacob Hill.
You always hear about corruption, but then to actually read it and know that it happens to someone you know is actually quite disheartening.
On June 23, 2015, Officer Bonnie Buckaloo sent this memo to the Punta Gorda Police administrators.
They knew roughly 8 hours after this arrest.
Buckaloo, along with another officer, came upon Lee Cole, who had pulled Hill over for driving the wrong way on this one-way street. First, Cole had his dog sniff around the vehicle for drugs, but it did not detect any. After that, Cole said that he was changing hats and now going to try for a DUI.
He's fishing for something.
Buckaloo also wrote that Cole did not ask any of the related DUI questions and that she did not observe anything that would indicate an impaired driver.
Falling over, stumbling, no odor of alcohol, no bloodshot, watery eyes. None of that information is written anywhere in any of the reports.
Buckaloo summed it up by writing that Cole performed the requested sobriety exercises without any notable concerns, and that he probably should not have been placed under arrest.
It's shocking to read an officer's report that says another officer was seeking or finding a reason to make an arrest. Why is he even arrested?
Apparently, that's also what people in the state attorney's office wondered, because Wink News obtained these documents from them, where a prosecutor writes, I do not see how there was enough for a DUI arrest, and if that's out, then there's no probable cause to search.
I would bet $1,000 the state attorney had no idea that there was another officer on scene who believes that this was a false arrest.
So, the state attorney's office started playing Let's Make a Deal and said it would drop 5 of the 7 charges, including 2 felonies and the DUI.
DUI getting dropped almost never. I mean, it is a very, very rare circumstance.
I can count on one hand how many times a DUI has been dismissed prior to charges being filed. This is one of them.
When the state attorney's office offered to drop most of the charges, Jacob Hill pled to minor possession of weed and got out of jail immediately.
He pled to those because he was in jail for 35 days and he needed to get out. Who's not going to take that?
Wink News talked to Jacob Hill, who lost his driver's license for a whole year, his apartment, and his job.
And now when he's looking for employment, what shows up on his background? A DUI. Who the heck's going to hire somebody with that kind of record?
So, what did the Punta Gorda police do about this memo? It said it was successfully prosecuted with the means of a plea.
And I have to tell you this. Any department that defines this as a successful prosecution, they should all resign.
Without asking, the Punta Gorda police also gave us emails saying things like, Buckaloo seems to have an obvious dislike for Lee Cole, stating to other officers that she refuses to acknowledge him or back him up on traffic stops.
She's one of their current own. She's part of the blue line. You don't cross it. She crossed it.
Would you have taken that plea had you known about this email, this memo?
Absolutely not.
When I talked with Jacob Hill, he said he came down here because he's a roofer and needed to work year-round. Well, after all this, he said no one would hire him, so he had to go back to northern Minnesota, and he said, try making a living there doing roofing in the winter. When we asked the Punta Gorda police for an interview, we were told the chief will not be providing an interview on the memo you referenced, continuing the public discussion of Officer Cole's work product prior to the conclusion of both FDLE's investigation and our own internal investigation is unfair and possibly improper on our end. That memo, as well as last night's story regarding those other memos, are on our website at winknews.com. Dave Culbreth, Wink News Now.
I think that that was a sign of just arrogance. I mean, you don't need to double and triple check yourself. You don't need to have other people double and triple check you. You don't have to have a procedure in place. You don't have to make sure. Like, all of those things just make me sick to my stomach.
On August 9th, 36 people watched as a Punta Gorda police officer shot and killed a woman during a Citizens Academy demonstration. Officer Lee Cole's still on paid administrative leave after the death of 73-year-old Mary Knowlton. But could it have been prevented?
Tonight, only Wink News has memos that were not in Cole's personnel file. After weeks of requests and hundreds of dollars spent, Punta Gorda police finally gave us those memos with allegations of bad arrests, insubordination, and policy violation. Wink News investigative reporter Dave Culbreth has the details.
Nobody should be running around this town with a gun and a badge with these type of allegations against them.
No self-respecting law enforcement agency that I've ever encountered should be tolerating this kind of behavior.
Those are 2 longtime Charlotte County attorneys. Both of them were shocked when I showed them these memos obtained by Wink News after the Punta Gorda police fought hard to prevent us from getting them.
Just shows that the Punta Gorda Police Department was hiding this stuff. Every news agency in the country was asking for these type of documents.
These new memos show Lee Cole's problems with the Punta Gorda police. But Cole's problems started in his rookie year with the Miramar police, where he was involved in 2 internal affairs investigations. This one, where he yanked a man out of the back of his cruiser. After just 1 year, Cole was forced to resign. He then applied for jobs at over 24 police agencies near Miami. Wink News obtained Cole's application files from most of them, who turned him down. So he then redirected his efforts to Southwest Florida, where the only agency interested in him was Punta Gorda. It was a year after he left Miramar when Cole was hired by Punta Gorda.
Miramar got it right. The other 25 police departments that refused to hire him got it right. Punta Gorda got it wrong.
Cole's personnel file with the Punta Gorda police shows many positive things he's done. But then there's these newly obtained memos that were not in his personnel file.
When you hire somebody that was asked to resign from a different police force, they should be on thin ice.
The first incident Wink News discovered is depicted in this memo. It was February 4th, 2015, when Cole accidentally discharged his taser at home. He was never disciplined.
To have an officer not check his taser before he does a spark test, that is Barney Fife stuff.
On October 23, 2015, a supervisor, Thomas Keegan, wrote this memo saying Cole was insubordinate to him and questioned his authority.
I think that him being insubordinate to his lieutenant seems to kind of go along with all of the other misconduct that he's alleged to have engaged in, because, you know, each one of those is kind of him being arrogant.
Then exactly 1 week later, Cole saw a man riding his bicycle at night without a light. The man wouldn't stop, so Cole sicked his dog on him. But Wink News has now learned from this email that there was what was called a community initiative in place, where officers were supposed to give warnings and free bicycle lights to people instead of arresting them. The Punta Gorda police ultimately settled with the man for $60,000, and over $120,000 worth of medical bills were written off by a hospital. The Punta Gorda police also hired an expert who determined that Cole did not do anything wrong.
I don't care what they say, you know, him allowing that dog to rip the chest wall out of a man who was driving without lights on a bicycle, that's insanity.
The dog bite issue got attention around the world, and Cole said he was receiving death threats. So he improperly accessed the state computer system to remove his name from public records. He got a slap on the wrist from Chief Tom Lewis, who, ironically, illegally accessed the same system himself 5 years earlier and got suspended.
As an attorney, I mean, the Florida bar would be smacking me around something fierce, because you can't just engage in constant misconduct. He's got 5 or 6 incidents of serious misconduct. He's still a cop.
We asked Punta Gorda police officials for an interview about this story, and we were told, quote, "The chief will not be providing an interview on the memos you referenced. Continuing the public discussion of Officer Cole's work product prior to the conclusion of both FDLE's investigation and our own internal investigation is unfair and possibly improper on our end." Now, after all of that, that's not the most egregious things these attorneys say Lee Cole has done. That involved a wrongful arrest. We'll have that tomorrow night in part 2 of this story. Dave Culbreth, Wink News Now.
No. drugs and stuff like the German jails, they would have, we got I'm a Canadian originally, we got 7 times more.
Will you do me a favor?
What's that?
If you want to record me, I have no problem with that.
Right.
But this is not a public building.
Last time we were here, we already discussed it. They said we could.
But there are other people here that may not know that you're recording them.
Okay, last time I was here, I asked if I could record, they said yes.
I have no problem with it.
Right.
I believe the facility is probably in the same mindset as they were last time. But just out of common courtesy, let people know they're being recorded, please.
You're being recorded.
Well, wait, everybody's here.
You have to let them know too. Are you running? He doesn't answer questions, I'm sorry. No.
You just did.
You did.
If you have any questions for me, you can talk to my attorney, Kevin Shirley.
I gotta meet Kevin, man. He's popular,
house.
man. He is popular.
No, but he was the lawyer for the guy that sold when I bought my house 18 years ago.
You want me to stay here next to you, buddy?
Yeah.
Anyhow, should be interesting. How you doing? Good. You're from you're Punta Gorda?
Oh, did you meet him yet?
So am I.
Now, tell me you were Canadian.
This is John Sertan. This is Ian. This is the guy that's doing all the filming, going for public records requests and stuff.
Oh.
They like him. They like him so much they trespassed him.
They do. I'm very popular.
What was the latest video on? Looking for a trespasser. Jim Mello.
Oh, Jim Mello was trespassing from a real estate office for causing a disturbance in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And,
the only record you got was 2015. That's the one?
Yeah.
Oh.
But they were giving the other guy like a hard time about getting the record, so, you know, I had to go down there and straighten those things out with him.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, and by the way, we tried to get L.A. Daniels and the black people to come today. I'm totally serious. Totally serious. I said, let's meet here and have a conversation.
It's a shame.
It is. So.
The meeting's canceled. Maybe next month. It's going to be same time, same place?
The meeting's canceled?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Well, we're the community.
Feedback from the Traby Woods community.
We can't be part of it.
You're not members of the Traby Woods community, no.
Oh my God, that's a good point.
You got your number. You just told me it's a meeting to discuss in the community, and now it's canceled.
Yeah. Wow. But seriously, I really appreciate you gentlemen.
No, but you told me a few minutes ago it's here to discuss a community discussion meeting, and now it's canceled.
Meeting's canceled, yes, sir.
Because I thought it was a community discussion meeting. That's what you told me a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we're members of the community. We like to be heard. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming. When will Cole face justice? Will Officer Cole ever face justice, Mr. Lewis?
That's a great point. Ask again.
Will Officer Cole ever face justice, Chief Lewis?
What about What about Tom Lewis? Oh, what do you want to do? Go for coffee? Let's not waste the time. I'm shocked too, man.
He just told me
that you're going to have a meeting, right?
And I says, what is it about? And he says, it's just a community to discuss things in the community.
Right, he wasn't specific on which community, though.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's that community.
Exactly.
I says, what is it, about? And I says, well, that's great. That's what we should have. Hey, work it.
Okay.
Once they've got their mind made up.
All right, so what do you want to do? Let's not waste this. You want to do coffee somewhere or what?
Sure.
Harry, where's the closest place for coffee?
We could have just used this community center. We don't have to have anybody here. I can't.
That's what I can't figure out. This is a public place.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you don't even need any kind of permission to
Right.
I don't understand that.
He's supposedly saying I do have the right to film, but I'm supposed to let everybody know.
I don't believe that's true in Florida.
and let's not waste it. Let's do coffee somewhere. Wait. All right, so John, you want to do coffee somewhere then? Where's the closest? Hey, I'm shocked too. Totally shocked. I'm totally shocked, man. So what do you want to follow us or?
Yeah, I'll follow you.
All right, we're down here. I'm in the white convertible.
Okay, I'll follow you.
Where do you want to go for coffee? Let's not waste it.
Whatever you decide to serve coffee. Man, I'm just easy to get on with, man.
He just shut the meeting down. He said we're not from the community, so he canceled it. So let's not waste it. What you want to do? Let's do coffee somewhere.
I'd give it about 2 or 3 minutes. These two just showed up for the meeting.
I know. Well, now two black people just showed up from the community, so they're going to have a meeting. I know, that's why he said, maybe wait a minute. Oh, have you ever seen anything like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Are you here for the meeting? What? Are you here for the meeting? Hey, I think we got a meeting, man. We got another one. Yep. Your door. Okay, he still canceled it? All right, can I give you my card then? Hey, the reason why I showed up and the reason why he's freaking out, I unfortunately experienced the corruption here myself. So 3 years ago, I started Charlotte County COPWATCH. I was the guy that was in the newspaper and all 3 channels where they illegally looked me up on the David system. Not to bring me flowers, but to do bad things because I'm exposing the corruption here. So that's why I think I'm shocked he shut it down. So we need cops. You know we need cops. I know we need cops. We're trying to show people that we're here. You can hold them accountable. You can do different things. You know what I mean? Is it all right to give you my business card? All right. So in 3 years, by the grace of God, I'm a Christian. The YouTube channel went nuts. 40 million views, 38,000 subscribers. In fact, I'll even give you my regular card. So I'm sorry that he did this. We seriously are here. We need police, but we're just here to let you guys know that we're here. If you ever have, if you ever need any help, investigating anything, or if you need a story put out, because internal investigations won't do anything. We were the ones that helped break the dog mall story. We're also the ones that did, in Collier County, 7 sheriffs beat the crap out of a white guy. He was in the hospital for 3 days. We broke that story. So we really are trying. We're trying to help. And sorry that it shut. We are shocked that he just killed it like this.
Okay.
So what was your name?
Reverend Brown. Reverend Howard.
Please get a hold of me, man. Do you guys got a card? I'm shocked. I really, really am. This guy right here, John Surcan, he helps the homeless over in Charlotte County. So he's going to let you guys know that he's here too. So he helps people there. In fact, you know what's crazy? He's the one that's the guy that supposedly got away from the sheriff at the water and hung himself. That's his landlord. He knows the guy. This wouldn't have happened. Like the guy said, he knew the guy. He didn't hang himself. You know what I mean? 65. So, anyways, I'm sorry that it bombed out. Oh, are we filming?
Yeah, he was supposed to be. That's what I told him.
Well, why don't you want to leave it up? Ellie Daniels.
Do you not value our opinion?
All right.
Is Officer Cole ever going to face justice, Mr. Lewis?
Why, who are you with? Just a regular person? That's fine. I don't answer questions.
I'm a regular person. Hey, Andrew, I wanted you to meet David. This is friend.
Okay.
Andrew.
Who are you, a regular
Andy.
person? No, I actually am. I'm
not a regular person.
Careful! Careful! Hey, let's not waste this. Let's do coffee. What's the closest thing to here for coffee? Here's my card. Because Sir Can's here and everything. You didn't even get to meet him. He helps the homeless in Fort Charlotte.
Oh, okay. How you doing? Hi. Hi. How you doing? Yeah.
Okay, where's the closest place for coffee?
See you later, man. It was a short meeting. Sorry, I get more time there.
I'm not sure. Let's go over here and we'll all talk.
All right, John, we're gonna discuss over here what we're gonna do. But be careful for those bike racks. You almost got it.